Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Jessica and we are Unite Inside, and we help people unite with all the parts inside of them. As you can see, I have changed the background because I am on a vacation, and so it's a really exciting thing for me. I want to talk about a really interesting topic that is um, that a lot of people need help with because they basically label it as a mental illness, or everywhere we go, we hear that it is a mental illness. But I want to say that there is a lot of other factors that basically, you know, that has something to do with it that doesn't really make it a mental illness. It's like there's a lot beyond that. And so we're talking about depression here. And in this video, I would really like to help you out and help you find a way to cure your depression. I want to tell you that it's actually something that is an interesting topic because a lot of people in around the world are actually going through depression, and it can be such a hard thing to go through because let's define depression. Depression is actually a deep level of powerlessness. It's actually at its deepest just feeling extremely powerless through the circumstances that you're going through. And every time someone is depressed, it's always because there is a deep sense of losing control and feeling absolutely powerless. And so I want to say that it is actually, it has a lot to do with a pattern that we have been adopting since we were kids. People that tend to have depression a lot and go in and out between depression and going back to feeling normal, but then going back to depression, again, it's because in at some time in their childhood they have been experiencing a situation that caused them to completely lose their sense of control and their power. So they felt extremely powerless due to the circumstances that they were going through when they were kids. And it could be basically just trying to get their needs met through their parents, but their parents basically make it hard for them to hear and listen and feel them. It could also be that they have felt powerless to making something happen in their reality as a kid. Basically, just feeling like they can't do it, feeling the self doubt, or feeling like they can't trust themselves enough to change their reality or change the pain and suffering that they're going through. Whatever it is, whatever powerless situation you've been through when you were a kid. And mostly, I want to say that when someone is going through depression, it involves a lot of other stuff and symptoms. Like, for example, feeling extremely lonely, feeling like no one cares, feeling like a lot of sadness and a lot of hopelessness and even suicidal. And I really don't want to, like when someone is in at a point where they feel extremely hopeless, that they want to unalive themselves, it's actually an interesting kind of situation that basically says that they have reached deepest levels of hopelessness. Basically, it means that there is no way else, that there is no other way for them to have what they want but to go transition to the afterlife, because that's what they feel. And for you to get into that point, you really have to go through disappointment over and over. Like as a kid or in your life in general, you have to go through situations not going your way. Like your life is being against you. A lot of people that go through a lot of depression actually suffer from feeling like life is against them, which means that you feel as if the circumstances of life is literally there to get you, and you don't feel like you can trust the universe or even people around you. It's hard to get your needs met, and it's hard to feel that other people care enough about your best interest to actually jump on and do something for you. So that's why in this video, I want to talk about two parts of depression and something that will really help you if you're going through it. So the first part is I want you to understand what depression really is. And I want you to understand that it is not a mental illness. It doesn't have anything to do with just chemicals in the brain. It's not necessarily caused by a chemical. Um, Chemicals might get released in the body, you know, according to your state of being, according to the way you feel about your reality and yourself, but it does not mean that it is actually caused by your brain. A lot of people think that, but it really is not the truth. A lot of times, every time you're going through depression, it is always related to your situation right now. You feel as though you can't get your needs met, you can't be heard, you can't feel that you're cared for by other people, you can't get what you want. A lot of times, deep down, there is a limiting belief that literally says, I can't get what I want. I can't get what I want. Like, if you dig deeper into that feeling of depression, it's a very negative feeling that feels like I just can't get what I want. It's a negative emotion that makes you feel bad because you actually feel and believe that you can't get what you want. Okay, and I want to tell you how is this emotion or this negative emotion gets created. It gets created because of the way you observed your reality as a kid, especially if you've been somebody that went through depression a lot in your life. It's always because it's either that you kept trying to get your needs met, your emotional needs met as a kid. You kept trying to be heard, you kept trying to be seen, you kept trying to get your parents to understand that a specific thing is important for you or whatever it is, but they made it hard for you to get there. They made it hard for you to be heard. And so you started feeling as though no matter what you do and no matter how hard you try, no matter how loud you speak, it only gets worse and you don't get what you want. You don't change your situation. A lot of times when we're little kids, we might be suffering from like an emotional fear or maybe like a pain in the chest that feels like we want to connect to our parents or we want to feel heard because emotional needs are important. We are emotionally dependent species, especially when we're kids. Kids 100% depend on their parents for their emotional safety. And so as a kid, when your emotional needs aren't being met by your parent, maybe you're being gaslit into thinking that you are wrong for having your feelings, or maybe your parents is just not are just not responding the way you want them to respond. You start to feel as if, you start to try like different things to basically get their attention. You might try to become maybe you might become someone that gets in trouble more, or maybe you might become louder, or maybe you might become more aggressive, or maybe you might just become more passive or more nice, whatever it is. But if whatever you're doing is just not working still, you start to feel as if I can't get myself what I need. Like you start to internalize that. Like whenever it happens, you start to feel like I'm responsible for this. I can't get my needs met. I can't get myself what I want. Like I tried all these things, and basically it happens to be like a self esteem thing. Like we start to feel confident the more we get what we want, the more we can speak and be able to interact with human beings and get good feedback from them and get like basically when things go right for us when it comes to communicating with our parents. And when we communicate with our parents and they are able to listen and hear us, we start to think, well, I was able to do it. I was able to get myself what I need. And there was this thing where as a kid, you might start to think, maybe I'm not that good at it, or I just can't get what I want. I can't get myself what I want, which can actually cause you to have like a low self-esteem. With time, when that keeps happening, you start to spiral in this process of feeling like you're disappointed at them, and then you're disappointed at yourself, and then you start to lose your self-esteem bit by bit. Okay, when you lose your self-esteem and you are in a position where you feel excuse me. So when you're in a position where you feel as if it's hard for you to get by or get noticed, or you feel extremely invisible during in your family or something like that, you start to internalize that and make it about you. You start to blame yourself. Like, oh, this is because of me. This is because I am not able to do this. Maybe I'm not good at getting what I want. Maybe I'm not as worthy. You start to tell yourself all these limiting beliefs that maybe because I'm not worthy, maybe because there's something wrong with me, there is something wrong with the way I talk, maybe my voice is shameful, or maybe I hurt people the way I talk. a lot of times people might have all these judgments about themselves of why they can't get what they want. Okay, maybe I'm not lovable, I'm just not as lovable, I'm just not as likable, I'm just not as acceptable, whatever it is that you start to internalize and tell yourself about yourself. I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, etc., etc. And so when that happens, basically you start to lose your self-confidence. And at some point, a lot of us went through this in our childhood at least once. But there are extreme situations where someone would go through this intensely, like their parent is actually ignoring them, or they have pretty unavailable, emotionally unavailable parents, or emotionally abusive parents. And when you're in a situation with an emotionally abusive and unsafe parent, it can be very hard to feel as though you have any power, because basically you're a little kid and you don't feel like you have any power. Basically, how can you have any power when they do everything for you and you need to convince them basically to get what you want? And if they don't love you enough, if they don't care about you enough, then you start to feel as if you are trapped. That's exactly how it feels. A lot of us take that feeling and sense of being trapped and stuck, to adulthood. And then when we're adults, even if you can get your needs met yourself, you still feel that trap energy, that stuckness, and it really hurts. That's why you could get into a deep level of depression. That's why. It's because of this pattern that I just expressed to you right now. And so, what I want to tell you is something important about people that go through depression is that, as I said, they feel as though it's hard to have any sort of influence on people around them, or they find it hard to basically affect circumstances or affect people around them in a positive way or in a way that makes them meet their own needs. And when that happens, most of people that are depressed will experience symptoms like feeling not unheard, feeling alone, feeling isolated, feeling unsafe, feeling lonely, feeling like no one cares. And there's a lot of times when, well, that causes a lot of deep levels of depression, because a lot of times we look at life as, we look at other people as that we are going to get our needs met by them. And so mostly we think that if we don't um, figure this out, and if we don't become um, likable or like lovable for them, then they are going to basically not give us our needs, and we will basically starve to death or not get our needs met, and it's just going to be a sticky, unsafe situation for us. And it's all internal, because it's actually, whenever you're going through the emotions of depression, it's always your inner child. It doesn't always make sense, because it's actually a part of you. Even though you might be an adult and you might know that you have power over your reality, that part of you does not. And so you have to find a way to parent that part of you now that you're an adult. And so I want to tell you, I want to give you an exercise, because now that we're talking about the part of depression that makes us feel unheard and unseen or invisible by the world, um, I want to say something important about this part, because it's actually something that really causes people to go into deep levels of depression. So I want to ask you right now, if you are going through depression, to make a list, to do this exercise. Make a list of these questions, just like basically answer these questions. The first question is going to be, are you experiencing like, are you feeling like it's hard to get through people in your reality, or like it's hard to feel cared for or to feel visible in your reality, whether it's your family or your friends or wherever you are? Okay, so if that's if the answer is yes, then the second question is, ask yourself, what am I trying to what do I want so bad? Like, what do I want? Like, all the sadness and all the depression that I feel, what is my desire? What do I really want? And so if your desire is to be cared for, to be powerful, um, to be someone that matters, or to be someone that is lovable, or maybe to have a life that is good for me, to have to like find tools and ways to live my dream reality. That could be that could actually also be answer of that question. And so now that you have answered those two questions, I want to tell you that now that you're an adult, you really it's possible to meet your deep emotional needs by yourself. So I want to say something that happens that is funny about people that go through depression is that they have this one track mind, like one way of thinking, which is, well, if someone doesn't give me what I want, or if someone doesn't seem to hear me, then that might mean that I'll never be heard, or that might mean that I'll never be seen, or I'll never get what I want from a person. I need to make this type of person convince this type of person to care about me. A lot of people that go through depression are actually surrounded by all the wrong people. It's because they tend to attract people that don't actually care about them. It's because of it's in their vibration. And so I want to tell you that, and because of that, they look at people that don't care about them and they think, I need to convince them to care about me, or I'm never going to be cared for. They let that mean something about them. They let that maybe their family treatment or other people or friends or whatever, they let that mean that deep down there's something wrong with them, and that's an evidence that they're not ever going to be cared for or loved. But I want to tell you, you only think this way because you do have a limiting belief. When you have a limiting belief of feeling like you're unlovable or not cared for, or you will never be cared for, kind of limiting belief, the world, it's like you try to basically um, force things to happen that are not really aligned. And so you don't let things be. You feel that panic that you need to convince someone to love you, or you need to convince someone, or it could actually also be not even like people. It could also be like in your life in general. Or maybe this is something that you're trying to create in your life, or a job, and you just keep applying and you keep applying. I want to tell you something about life is that if one person doesn't give you love, it doesn't mean that you'll never find people that will give you love. It doesn't mean that you'll never find a place where you actually belong. Um, and if one job rejects you, that doesn't mean that you'll never find the right job. And a lot of times, the universe is trying to protect you from these situations that don't actually align with you. But you're trying to force it, and it's actually telling you something about these people. And someone that's healed and knows their worth will recognize that, hey, these people are not my people. This person is just not my soulmate, or this person is just not the right match for me, or these friends are not my friends. I can find a better. This is not where I want to be, where I want to be, or where I want to belong. And so when you have enough self-worth and you actually do the inner work and you balance out your feelings, what happens is that you reach a point where you're actually um, letting go. You're okay with if someone doesn't love you, or if someone doesn't give you what you want immediately, it doesn't mean anything about you, and you don't feel that panic because deep down you already have it. A lot of times we're trying to get the feeling of being heard, feeling like we matter, feeling like we have self-worth from people outside of us. But I want to tell you that if deep down you do believe that you are cared for, that you are loved, if you actually do the inner work, then that is important for you to reach a point where you do have trust and you don't care if someone outside of you doesn't treat you well, because you know how you're supposed to be treated. You know, you will enter a completely different type of reality. You will live a completely different type of life, because you'll know who to give your attention to, who to give your energy to, and who to not give your energy to, who to release, who to just let go of. Because once you reach a point where you let go of the wrong circumstances, the wrong jobs, the wrong people, the wrong um, thoughts, or whatever it is, that's where whatever is actually a perfect match to you will come to you. It will just come. It's because then deep down you know what you deserve, and so you will naturally manifest it. It will naturally come. But for you to reach that type of trust in the universe and in yourself, you have to do the work, which is you have to release and come face to face and heal those parts of you that are feeling unworthy, feeling unheard, feeling those limiting beliefs. And so, with all of that being said, depression is not a mental illness. It is a bunch of limiting beliefs that we have basically adopted. And I want to tell you something. What happens is when someone is chronically depressed, it looks like there is something wrong with them, or it looks like I don't know why they're just not getting out of bed. They just don't want to do anything. It looks like they have friends. It looks like everything is good, but they deep down still feel unheard, still feel unseen. They deep down still have those limiting beliefs and that trauma. Every time you do experience depression, it is actually your body's way of telling you slow down and dig deeper. There is some deep powerlessness going on, and we can release this. The body is trying to rest and release those limiting beliefs that you have. And so it is actually a good opportunity to strengthen your spiritual practice around this time, which is hard. You can't really do it. But I want you to actually understand your pattern and what you're involved in. I want you to understand there is a couple limiting beliefs that you are holding onto and fears that you don't have to live with. You can release, you can let go of. And I know it hurts, and you might be able to, you might have to process some deep, uncomfortable emotions like sadness or hurt or heartbreak from the past. But that is really actually helpful for you to be able to release those limiting beliefs and fears. Okay, a lot of times we're afraid to get our heart broken, but all we have to do is to feel that hurt so that we know how it feels. We can sit with it, we can be with it, and we're no longer afraid of it. And so we are able, after that, we are feeling more brave to open our heart and receive what we actually deserve. So, what I'm saying is here, when it comes to a person that's depressed, they keep themselves in a stuck situation. That's why they're depressed. It's because if I take one thing that's not working in my life and I keep trying to get it to work because deep down I feel that if it doesn't work, then nothing else will work. That's what depression is, and that's what a lot of people that are going through depression go through. It's because when they were a kid, there was a situation that you kept trying and trying because you were stuck. Because as a kid, you actually do feel trapped and stuck because you actually are. Your parents have you, and there's nowhere to go unless if you want to run away and get yourself into more pain. Like how can you run away and become a homeless little child? And I don't even think that that's possible. I think that they will just take you to adoption or whatever. So, anyways, I'm just saying that it's just a stuck situation. So, as a kid, you felt like you had to keep trying and trying and trying with your parents so that you can be heard by them. But I want to tell you that you felt like if you don't figure it out, then you'll never get what you want. But I want to tell you that if your surroundings, people or family or friends or your partner are not hearing you, not feeling you, you don't have to let that be your reality. If they refuse, then they're not the right people for you. You can redirect your energy. That's where your inner work will help you. It's because you can learn to hold space for yourself. You can learn to become the observer of yourself, the awareness, and then you can observe your feelings, your thoughts. You can hold space for them. Once you make a detachment between your feelings and who you are, and then you can basically observe your feelings, your hurt feelings, and you can basically observe them from a place of detachment, from a place of not defining yourself by them, not necessarily identifying yourself with your feelings, because you're not your feelings, you are the awareness. That's why meditation is good. Meditate when you're going through depression, and then just try to sit with the feeling no matter how uncomfortable it is. Even if it meant that you cry, it's actually release. It's actually a good releasing technique to do this. And it could be hard, and you could basically involve your friends or people that you think you trust in this process, and they can hold space for you while you cry or while you process your emotions. Or you can do this by yourself if you think that you're capable of doing it. Um, but it really does help when we sit with our feelings, we journal, we talk about it, and we don't let ourselves be alone. We can actually find support systems that are actually basically helping us and they want to listen, they want to love us, and then we can stop feeling like we're in this alone. I'm creating a community where we can love and heal and be together and feel like we are a one community that supports each other. And if you do want to join my community, you can definitely, it's on Facebook, and you can definitely let me know in the comment section, and I will definitely send you my the link to it so that we can heal and become one. But there are communities, I'm creating one, and there are other people that are creating communities that can help you for free. My community is completely for free, and I basically personally help you in that community where I go live and I talk about topics like this and how to heal. So there is support and there is love when you basically start to believe that there is love, and you basically start to shift your focus from trying to basically get through a certain situation that isn't working into getting, like, take all that energy and put it in yourself instead of trying to be heard by someone else. Like I said, do the work and become able to hear yourself. I want to tell you something. A lot of times the reason why we desire to basically go outside of us for love and support is because we don't have it within ourselves. It's hard for us to love ourselves because a lot of times we have a lot of trauma that make us literally hate ourselves. There's a lot of types of trauma where you can feel that you have a lot of hatred towards yourself. There's a lot of limitation and guilt that actually blocks you from having empathy for yourself, from trusting yourself. And so basically, you feel like you are face to face with your demons. That's why we find other people outside of us. We try to find them so that they can save us from our demons. But I want to say that you have to sit with your demons and release them and become that empowered being. That is your only way to be out of depression, is to become an empowered being, is to sit with yourself and to be able to meet your own emotional needs through yourself and through others. You can find that, but unless if you do the work, because if you don't do the work, you're going to keep trying to get the same people that are not for you to love you, and that is going to absolutely send you into a depression mode. And that's not just when it comes to people in general, but also when it comes to situations like applying for a job or getting your dream job or manifesting anything. You have to have a flexible mindset. And if you do really believe and have faith, you will know that things will come. Things come in this universe in different creative ways when you trust the universe. I promise you, once I started trusting the universe, I was always provided for. I was always able to find what I wanted and always experience the life that I wanted. Okay? And I did that because I was able to open up and not be stuck in one thing or trying to work one situation out. Because if I do that, I'll definitely get into a depression mode. It's an expectation that we expect that things will just go our way all the time. And if they don't go our way all the time, then that means that something is wrong. That's not true. Destroy this type of belief because you are living in a meaningful universe. You have to know that the universe knows what it's doing. It is highly intelligent. It is your higher self. It is always guiding you. Why do you think you see those like 111, 222 signs? Do you think that's a coincidence? It's not. Nothing is random. You have to understand that you are able and 100% capable of manifesting what you want in different creative ways. You do not have to be stuck in one way, because if you do, what happens is that you actually are not seeing the bigger picture. Everything happens for a reason. That's the mentality and the belief that actually um, that basically, let's say, saves you from depression. Because when you have a limiting belief that literally says, well, if things don't go my way exactly how I think they are, then things are bad. Like, how depressing is that? And things don't always go our way, Like, that's basically out of our control. And so we have to adopt a more expanded perspective, which is everything happens for a reason. I'm going to trust things are going to be okay. I'm going to get out of the way with my energy. I'm not going to um, complicate things and hold on and be in this detached and be in this attachment mode. Because if I am, then if I'm attached to a certain outcome, then I actually stop the universe from giving me even a better type of life. Once I started doing this, my life changed a lot because I started manifesting things that are beyond my dreams. I'm telling you. And a lot of times things go my way. It's because now that I'm relaxed, even though things might appear that they're not going my way, eventually they go my way. See, like I tested this a lot with my own reality. So I want to tell you that depression, um, as a conclusion here, that depression is not a mental illness. It is a couple limiting beliefs that you are holding onto, a way of interacting with your reality that is not necessarily the right way for you to get what you want. And so I want to tell you that you have to heal, sit down with your limiting beliefs. I'm going to make a video soon about how to heal those limiting beliefs, which I do have videos about how to heal and sit with your feelings and stuff, and how to sit with your pain. You can check them out. They are the first videos I've ever made. And so I hope that this video helped you and that it made you feel better about your depression. And also, I want to tell you, you can meet your needs by yourself. Okay, too, you can absolutely do that. So that, in conclusion, before I go, I want to say that when it comes to depression, the thing that you need to understand is that it is always related to your reality and to what you think about your reality. Is there any powerless situation that you are going through right now? And then you can work through your limiting beliefs and you can open up your mindset to a more creative ways of being and surrender to the universe and have faith, because that helps a lot with depression. People that have depression actually are not able to surrender because they want things to be a certain way, or they think that things are not going their way. Okay? And so, yes, and also when it comes to feeling like you're not heard or like you don't matter, those are limiting beliefs that you can work through. Those are basically deep limiting beliefs about yourself that you have picked up as a child. And so you can definitely do the work when it comes to that. Okay? I hope that you have a great day. You all are having a great day, and I will see you in the next video. If you have any questions, you can definitely drop them in the comment section, and don't forget to like and share and leave a comment. I love you, and I will see you in the next video. Bye. Mwah.